Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
say. For the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this in general.
What's up, guys? This is Mr. K. And you know what? I just saw this, clip interview with Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate, and you know what? I felt the need to actually, speak on this. These people are talking about some really impactful issues in our society, and you know what? Andrew Tate is some sort of a controversial individual globally. Now I'm coming to you guys as an African in Africa, South Africa, and I want to actually, speak on this. Now let's listen to some of the things that they're saying on this interview.
This is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman.
If you can't say that, so basically people are not allowed to their own opinions and preferences and to voice them out, and yet anybody can just come, a woman can just come and say, I want a guy with muscles, tall, and with a little bit of money. I can't say I want a younger woman. That's my preference.
And I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be...
Wait. So preference is misogyny? Preference is misogyny. So is he trying to say that women are the most misogynistic individuals in this generation? Anyway.
Infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
It's pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
What is misogyny? What is the definition of misogyny? Maybe he's going to say.
Anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, then ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
is that
not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
But if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
yeah.
Would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't.
What is misogyny? Why must he apologize for his own preference? I mean, guys, we live in real life. There are real things happening in real life, and, people are okay with them. So if I have a preference, I must, I can speak on it. I can say I've got a preference like this and then that. Why is social media and, the elites of the, prime media trying to, take our voice out? I mean, we all know that kings and, emperors or whatever. Let me just stick on kings in Africa. Kings in Africa, they choose a queen in a very in a very controversial way, if you can put that like that, according to these prime media or mainstream media people. Because, I mean, a king literally lines up beautiful, should I say it? Beautiful virgins. He lines up beautiful virgins. They dance, they impress him, they do this and that, and then he chooses whichever one he wants. You want to call that misogyny? No, it's preference. I'm a king, so I prefer this specific type of woman. What are these people trying to do to society? Why are they taking our voice away? What is going on?
I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
Okay, why is he imposing his own ideas on this guy? Now, look, I know Andrew Tate can be, super controversial. I mean, talking about women should take responsibility for what happens to them when they go out there and they don't look, in a proper way or anything like that. Yeah, that's very controversial because in Africa, our traditions are very different. We've got traditions where, people literally walk around with their, private parts out, especially women. They are boobies out. Others walk around showing parts of their, actually, let me just say private parts. They walk around looking like that, and nobody's doing anything to them. Nobody's attacking to them. So we can't really say they must take responsibility for that. We need to tell guys, please do not, take advantage of a woman because I don't know, for whatever reason that you think, you have to take advantage of a woman. Do not do that. It makes you a very weak man. I mean, you can go out there and get in. Women are more than men in the streets. You can literally go out there and get any woman that you want. There are more women on the streets. There's no need for you to take advantage of any woman. There are more women on the streets. Go out there, speak to women, and engage and, get a woman that you like. It's unnecessary for you to do these other stuff. So, yeah, in Africa, women, can dress up the way they want. They're free. But, it gets crazy if you're gonna dress up in that. Let me just stick to the traditional African attire or South African attire. Some of the traditions or cultures we have in Africa, they dress up a certain way. So if you're gonna dress up and show your boobs and go to a club where people are intoxicated, where people are hyped up, they are on drugs, whatever the case may be, it's not gonna go well for you. Come on, we all know that. It's not gonna go well for you. So there are certain places where you have to make sure that, you dress up in a certain way that you're gonna be protected. I mean, I can't go to war without a bulletproof, right? I gotta put on a bulletproof and make sure that, nobody penetrates me with their bullets. So if you're gonna go to a place where people are not right in their head, you gotta look a certain way, right? I'm not gonna say anybody gotta look what way, but you gotta look a certain way.
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
you don't think it's fine.
The reason
Isn't that guy speak? You are literally just going on. Shut up, man. Let Andrew Tate speak. We know that Andrew Tate makes more sense than you, Morgan.
Hold, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths.
Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we need in the real world? The real and comfortable truth?
I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
That's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today.
To put somebody like this guy in such a situation is ridiculous. Trying to blame him for, these negative things that are happening. That's ridiculous, because it clearly means that you've never, ever listened to him. One of the things that this guy says to men is, guys, be a decent man, respect women, love women, be strong to protect women, make money to support women and cater for women. Actually, he's advocating for women more than anyone. He's advocating for women and children by empowering guys. So how do you come and now start, trying to blame him for other negative things happening? That's ridiculous, man. These people are weird. These people are fucking weird.
The world we live in, the fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms. Because
this guy doesn't know who Andrew Tate is. Andrew Tate doesn't have a platform. This guy literally gained about 600 and something thousand subscribers on Rumble in 2 weeks? What are you talking about?
Maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform. But that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that.
Because now I'm famous, now I can't drink milk. What? Because of cows? Because of vegetarians? Come on, people. What is happening to society? If society is gonna move to technology, it's gonna move into this whole social media or whatever the case may be, then you know what? I don't think we are ready. I don't think we are ready. I mean, if you think about it, everything has to be free. We have to speak like we speak on the streets, so that we can have an understanding that there are people with different understandings, and we can try, to help each other understand better. Not to say that now that I'm famous, I can't speak like this, even though I believe that's the truth. So I'm gonna speak lies, I'm gonna say wrong things. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. If anything, the world is huge. I mean, in Africa, if you think about it, in Africa alone, let me check. We've got population, African population. It's probably not going to be accurate, because propaganda, right? They say 1.3 billion. I will say plus. How many people in Africa on social media? On social media, right? In Northern Africa, okay, showing me Northern Africa is saying about 56%. Now, what about all these other people who have their own beliefs and understandings? Life is happening. It's happening in Africa as it should, in many different worlds. And you know what? If we go into social media and start talking things, we gotta be real and truthful to each other. And if I believe in something, I've got to speak up. And if you believe something different, you gotta speak up. And if we agree to disagree, it's okay. And if we agree to agree, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? I guess.
Massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world.
Hey man, they making Andrew Tate look like, you know, he's like the world's biggest enemy for literally telling men to be men and do the right thing and, you know, protect women, provide for women, love women, you know. Why? What is the agenda here? What are these people up to? What are they trying to do to society? Jeez, man.
I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable
nuances. It's all about nuance, but the nuances are the reasons why, you know, all these people are coming left and right and whatever. The nuances are the reasons everything is so divided. Because people are not really speaking facts or points, or they just literally just taking there and there and just, you know, saying whatever that's comfortable with them and their reality, delusional reality or real reality or whatever the case may be. This guy was talking about depression. A lot of people attacked him. They say, "Who, you know, depression is real. Depression is real. I was depressed for so many years." He says, "Yo, you are making those demons real. You are making those ghosts real." And I don't want to lie to you. If you sit down and understand why you are depressed, you will find the solution. You will. Unfortunately, maybe some situations you can't find a solution. You have to go to therapy because you need somebody to speak to. And maybe you need somebody to speak to because of maybe you don't have, you know, the quality to speak properly or, you know, to engage with people. Maybe you're an introvert. You know, maybe you're an introvert and you've got a, you know, a silly situation or whatever the case may be. I don't know what are the causes of depression. Actually, you're not depressed. You are just maybe confused. You are just maybe not moving as fast as you should. You know what I mean? So you have to psychoanalyze yourself before you can even start, you know, putting titles to your mental state. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's that. He's just saying whatever that you then decide it is, it's your reality.
Making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by
They
teenagers.
softening.
However,
Andrew
that can
Tate
be
up,
said about
man.
anybody and
They
everything.
softening-
Every opinion online can be misunderstood
Man.
by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind.
This is
who doesn't
crazy. I
understand.
can't wait to see the full you know, interview. I want to see. I hope that's not just it, because if that's it, then you know what, this Piers Morgan guy is not, you know, somebody you want to really listen to and pay attention. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Do like and subscribe. Yeah, I hope you guys understand some of the things I'm saying, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I got some shows down there that you can check out. Not really controversial. Some people think they are, but there are some really dope shows. Mr. K, shout out.
This thing with Russia is just like the craziest thing.
Subscribe to the channel and join us on All in Love with Mr. K.